Hi everyone. I want to talk about how children learn through play today. This is a topic that makes sense if you have young children, and then, when they go to school, well, that's it. Play's over, child's play, put those toys away, it's time to do learning. But there's so much learning that's been going on while your children were playing. Let's look at that for a second. When John Holt wrote How Children Learn, I think it was 1964, he writes in the book that he had to study children 5 and under because he realized that as a 5th grade teacher for well over a decade at that point, he realized that children in school were very defensive, always trying to hide whatever, defects they might feel the teacher would pick up upon. So John watched the free and easy learning that young babies and then toddlers and then preschoolers do. And in How Children Learn, he really emphasized the value of play and the interaction of the child with the environment and with other people, including adults and other children. But when he revised the book in 1983, after his work with homeschoolers, he felt that play was so important, he added a whole new chapter to the book called Fantasy Play. And in it he explains how children use play not to escape from reality, not to get away from the world, but to understand it. And that's what children are doing. They're trying to get into the roles of being a mom or being a dad or a cop or a robber or, a teacher. My unschooled children often played school to try to understand what's going on there. So this isn't uncommon. And a lot of alternative schools have used play and continue to. Thank goodness, So here we are now, entering 2024, and where are we at with children in play in our education system? Well, first of all, because this education system feels that children are failing because their test scores are so low, and this is before the pandemic, by the way, so I'm going back to the late 90s, early aughts, we cut recess so that the children would have more time for instruction. We actually added preschool, you show up to school a half hour, an hour early for private tutoring or for special sessions, or homework help. And then after school programs, instead of being extracurriculars that, children would look forward to, instead they've all become academic enrichment programs. And, you have to do the homework first before you can even start going to the clubs and a lot of these after school programs. And the pressure on parents is just tremendous. And if they can afford it, parents take their kids right after school to another type of school, a tutoring program. So we get books like How to Teach Your Baby to Talk, which is absolute nonsense because every child learns to speak their native language. It's called the mother tongue. It goes back to forever. Reading the back issues of Growing Without Schooling magazine, and I came across this article that we reprinted. This was printed in the New York Times, written by Glenn Collins in November 10th, 1985. And here, I'm going to read a shortened version of it. As the debate over the super baby phenomenon intensifies, researchers have coined a verb form to describe it: hothousing. The word was the focus of a conference here on the trend toward early educational stimulation of infants and toddlers. Researchers described the negative effects of inappropriate formal instruction on infants and their parents, underscored the value of unstructured play for growing children, and placed hothousing in perspective as a middle-class phenomenon. Hothousing is a useful metaphor for what's going on, said Jeanette McCarthy Gallagher, a research psychologist at Temple University. There is a natural pace to the development of children, she said. When we hothouse children, we superimpose a learning environment in order to make them learn faster. We are told that the hothousing of these children makes sense because of their natural urge to learn, said Irving Siegel, research scientist at the Educational Testing Service. But where is it written that children have the natural urge to learn Japanese or Suzuki violin? He asked, referring to some early instruction programs. Siegel said that many skills hawked by the purveyors of such programs are taught by rote. You can get a horse to do half those things, he said. A devastating effect of hot housing is what a child comes to believe about himself, Siegel said. Children come to believe they are valued for what they memorize or produce or achieve. 1985. Let's cut forward to 2013 when Dr. Peter Gray wrote his book, Free to Learn, Why Unleashing the Instinct to Play Will Make Our Children Happier, More Self-Reliant, and Better Students for Life. He quotes lots of research in his book as well that supports the idea of play, and he's a great fan of alternative schools as well as homeschooling. And one of the things that really strikes me is that, he's gone out since this book came out, and he's founded two nonprofits, Let Grow and the Alliance for Self-Directed Education, both that want to support more autonomy for children in society. But it's still pretty hard to sell these ideas. And that's why it's very important that you know that you have options. School's not going to change overnight. It certainly didn't change by the time my daughters are in their 30s now. It hasn't changed very much since they were in school or since I was in school. Learning is natural. Schooling is optional. That's the motto of the North Star Learning Center, which supports self-directed learning for teenagers. I recommend you keep those words in your mind.